One of my favorite episodes has to be from Codename Kids Next Door, Operation Support. Child me always thought this episode was the absolute funniest, and let's just say that I wasn't that mature. I mean, let's be honest though, what kid is mature? But I digress. So if you thought this episode was funny, or don't remember it and want to know what the big deal is, lucky for you, because today I'm going to be going back and covering this specific episode from beginning to end, starting with the most important part, the disappearance of Numbuh 5. Also, you might notice that my voice sounds a little different. It's because I'm sick, but you probably deciphered that already, so I apologize for the sound of my voice for not being as it should be, but I'll be back eventually. But as for this video, let's get into it. So, once upon a time, nah, that's too Disney. Let's just start at the beginning. It was a typical morning at the Sector 5 treehouse headquarters of the Kids Next Door. Numbuh 1 and Numbuh 2, two of the sector's top operatives, were going about their usual business when they suddenly realized that their teammate Numbuh 5 was nowhere to be found. Her unexplained absence was highly unusual and concerning to them, for whatever reason. I guess this is before the time of kids having cell phones to communicate with one another, but I feel like the technology of this treehouse should have contained at least some sort of communication device that Numbuh 1 and Numbuh 2 could have used to reach Numbuh 5. But I know, it's just a TV show. Get on with the episode, buddy. Alright, okay, fine. So long story short, Numbuh 1 and 2 became immediately alarmed and irrationally jumped to the conclusion that their friend must have been kidnapped by one of the Kids Next Door's many corrupt adult villains. So what do? Well, without a moment's delay or hesitation, the two operatives rush out of the treehouse and head straight towards Numbuh 5's family home. Convinced they're embarking on an urgent rescue mission, Numbuh 1 and Numbuh 2 forcefully barge into the Lincolns' family home and literally take down an entire wall in the process. All I'm going to say at this point is, as an adult now, I feel the pain of that homeownership repair bill, especially with today's housing market, literally makes me fear for my life. But anyways, once inside Numbuh 5's now damaged house, they are soon met by Numbuh 5's surprise father, Dr. Lincoln. Personally, I don't know how this man kept his cool after having two kids literally destroy part of his house, but Dr. Lincoln goes on to calmly inform the intrusive boys that his daughter, Abigail, also Numbuh 5, was not in fact kidnapped, but merely home recovering from a common cold. Somewhat embarrassed by their rash actions, Numbuh 1 and Numbuh 2 go upstairs to verify that Numbuh 5 is indeed simply resting in bed. And now, satisfied that she is safe after all, albeit sick with a cold, the operatives head back downstairs, figuring they ought to stay and stand guard over her in case any nefarious villains try to take advantage of her illness to sneak in and steal any top-secret Kids Next Door information directly from Numbuh 5's brain. Because that's exactly my concern when I'm sick, or when any of my friends are sick. I mean, none of my friends are standing guards, so I guess I need better friends, but that's a whole other issue. And as you all know, kids need snacks and proper nutrition after destroying other people's properties. Feeling a bit hungry after all the unnecessary panic and residential destruction, Numbuh 1 and 2 make their way to the Lincoln family's kitchen and sit in front of a nice plate of cookies. It's here where they both meet Numbuh 5's infamous teenage sister and an enemy of Kids Next Door, I might add, named Cree. Of course, Numbuh 2 can't help but gawk at her, despite Numbuh 1's disgust and frequent warnings that she couldn't be trusted given her age. She was, after all, a distrustful teenager. But it is at this moment that Dr. Lincoln enters the kitchen and cheerily mentions how he'd taken Cree shopping over the weekend to buy her first ever training bra, much to Cree's horror and outrage. Furious at her father for embarrassing her in such a way in front of her little sister's weird friends, Cree spits out the orange juice she was drinking directly at Numbuh 1 and 2 and starts hitting her father for embarrassing her, and then later storms off. Talk about escalating the situation. Left alone, Numbuh 1 and 2 began privately discussing and wondering just exactly what a bra was supposed to be in the first place. To satisfy their curiosity, they decide to look up the odd term on their advanced Kids Next Door lunchbox, box spelled with Bach, to find out. And by far one of the best moments in the episode, the computer explains to them that the word bra is an acronym standing for Battle Ready Armor. And you know, I think every kid out there wanted their own Battle Ready Armor after learning that one. And I mean, even as an adult, I still want Battle Ready Armor, so not much changes. But getting back to the episode, of course, Numbuh 1 and Numbuh 2 became extremely suspicious of the situation. Convinced now that these mysterious bras were dangerous weapons that Cree could use against them, Numbuh 1 and 2 became determined to find and confiscate all the bras in the house. And how do they do this? Well, by of course again senselessly attacking Dr. Lincoln at the top of the stairs, believing him to be an enemy trying to harm Numbuh 5. That poor man. Medical bills and property damage bills all in the same day. They shortly find out though that he was actually just kindly bringing his ill daughter some medicine for that common cold that Numbuh 5 had. After yet again another embarrassing mistake, Numbuh 1 and Numbuh 2 sneak carefully into Cree's bedroom and begin opening all her dresser drawers and rummaging through them without permission in search of the dreaded bras. At first, they have no success locating the elusive garments until finally, Numbuh 2 discovers a whole stockpile of bras hidden away in one drawer. However, try as they might, the two clueless boys are not able to figure out how to properly put on or fasten the bizarre contraptions, let alone activate their supposed armor powers. Talk about frustrating. Nonetheless, Numbuh 1 manages to haphazardly stretch one of Cree's bras over top of his normal shirt, but of course, immediately after, Cree herself unexpectedly walks into the room, catching the uninvited raiders red-handed. Startled but convinced of her evilness, Numbuh 1 aggressively threatens Cree with the bra he was improperly wearing, warning her that he now possessed a powerful battle weapon. However, his ignorant shouts and flailing proved futile as the bra remained inactive and, well, useless. And trust me when I say, I totally back Cree up on this one. Enraged at this perverted invasion of her most personal belongings, Cree violently lashes out at Numbuh 1, forcefully throwing him into her dresser and basically destroying large chunks of her room. Is anyone else noticing a pattern here? These kids are out of control. And amidst the chaos, a terrified Numbuh 2 pathetically cowers under Cree's bed, still foolishly wearing one of her bras atop his head. I mean, at least he has some protective headgear. There's a silver lining, right? But guess who decides to come in just in time to save the day? Well, sorta. It's a still sick and weary Numbuh 5. Except she's not really there to help them. Instead, she gets angry at them and demands to know why her teammates were abusing her sister's personal garments. Numbuh 5 sternly lectures the embarrassed Numbuh 1 and 2 and informs them that bras are in no way armor or weapons as they had ridiculously assumed, but rather simple undergarments for older girls. Seemingly mortified beyond belief, Numbuh 1 and 2 are essentially kicked out of the Lincoln house, finally, by an exasperated Numbuh 5 for their ignorance and complete lack of respect for boundaries. And for also being agents of chaos, no less the kids next door. Keep them away from any houses at this point. And you know, you'd all be justified to think that that's where the story ends, wrap it up. But it's not. Even after this entire embarrassing misadventure, the bra saga was not over yet. Later that same night, with Numbuh 5 finally fast asleep, a mysterious unseen female teen ninja stealthily sneaks into her bedroom. The shadowy intruder manages to successfully extract pivotal top-secret Kids Next Door information directly from the unsuspecting Numbuh 5's mind while she was passed out in bed. Okay, let's be honest, this is actually kind of creepy to look back on. Is this really what happens when you fall asleep? I really hope not. Maybe that's why I can't remember my dreams. That's gotta be it. And to make matters even more creepy, in a limousine parked nearby, the villainous father and his annoying delightful children from down the lane eagerly receive the classified data stolen by their teen ninja ally. They watch in glee as the ninja removes her mask, revealing herself to be none other than... wait for dramatic effect, it's Cree Lincoln. Yeah, so I don't know what to tell you. This is weird to me. Numbuh 5's sister Cree has two fathers. Dr. Lincoln, her biological dad, and like a neighbor? Did they just randomly meet at a park or something and exchange numbers? Is this like a hobby for her? And I literally just thought of this, but they should not have created a children's show with the topic of bra and neighboring dad in the same plotline. This episode just got a whole lot more creepy and wrong, and with YouTube's terms, I just can't rant anymore on this idea. So for now, I digress. Getting back to the episode, Cree spitefully informs father, the creepy neighbor one, that bras are in fact precisely the type of vital protective armor that the idiotic Numbuh had assumed earlier that day. Talk about plot twist, am I right? But you know, these shows have to end on a winning note, and what that means is, this story doesn't end with the creepy neighborhood dad and battle-ready armor Kree winning, because it's soon explained that a very smart and resourceful Numbuh had cunningly anticipated this exact attempt from happening, and tricked Kree into stealing worthless data from a dummy decoy doll she set up in her own bed to make it seem like she was sleeping. From the safety of her room, the real Numbuh had spied on the entire encounter through her binoculars. After reporting back to Numbuh, he congratulates her and immediately summons her back to the treehouse. And basically, though Numbuh and 2 had learned an embarrassing lesson about bras, it seems like the Kids Next Door conflict with dangerous teens like Kree was far from over. So there you have it, battle-ready armor. They need to make something for the word boxers or undershirts, like Battle On, Battle of X-Ray, Battle of Eagle Box. I don't know, I'm not that creative, but I'm hoping you guys are. Let me know what you thought of this episode in the comments below, and let me know if you like this style of episode recaps.